Welcome to the Mindful Motivation series, which aims to help you on your path to live a purposeful and happy life. Welcome everyone to episode 2. I'm delighted to be joined by a wonderful guest today, Carrie Green. Carrie is the founder and owner of the Female Entrepreneur Association, which is an international online hub for female entrepreneurs to get inspired and empowered to turn their ideas into a reality and build successful businesses, as well as live a life they love. Carrie has created a fantastic online presence and reaches hundreds of thousands of people daily through her motivational and inspiring videos, her hugely successful members club, her social media posts and her blog. So welcome, Carrie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Thanks so much. So would you be able to give us a quick bio on yourself and tell us how you have got to where you are today?
Oh, wow. I'm trying to get a... I could make that quick.
Sorry.
How did I get to where I am today? Well, I started my first business when I was at university because I ran out of money, and that was quite the journey, and figuring out that you can have no business skill or knowledge, and you can use the internet and determination to create something successful. But then running my first business, I ended up feeling so isolated and lonely. And through a series of things that happened, I suppose, I just decided I wanted to create an online platform to inspire and empower women and bring us all together so we could have like nice little chats with like a cup of tea or a glass of wine, like with your girlfriends, just chatting about like-minded entrepreneurial stuff. And I also really craved for getting business information and strategies and inspiration, but in a more feminine way. I'm a massive fan of pink, and at the time, there was nothing like that out there. Everything was really masculine. So I think that was another reason why I wanted to create the platform. So, yeah, I just ended up doing it. That was back in 2011, and since then it's flourished beyond my wildest dreams. So it's been quite a journey.
Absolutely. And I've followed you for the last nearly 4 years, and I find all of your stuff so inspiring, and it's really helped me with my own business as well to progress. And what I love about your work is that while you inspire and help people like myself succeed in business, you also talk and teach extensively about mindset and the power we have to create our own lives. From listening to your videos and reading your blog, I know that everything you've achieved hasn't just happened by chance. You've put in a huge amount of work and have a lot of determination and also belief and faith in where you're going. So could you tell us how you keep a positive and motivated mindset to keep moving towards your dreams?
Yeah, because I always say success is not an accident. Like, you have to create it on purpose. It's not like, whoops, I created success. Like, you have to do it so intentionally. And for me, I think it's all about really honing yourself for success, training your brain to create the reality that you want to create. And I'm so fortunate because my dad's always been into personal development. So ever since I was like 9 or 10, he was sending me and my sister and brothers on courses to learn about power of positive thinking and doing visualizations and all of that stuff. So even as a teenager, I had like a goal folder, this like plastic folder with like plastic wallet sheets on the inside, and I would store my goals in there and what I wanted to like, for example, I wanted this navy blue Beetle Cabriolet with cream leather interior. I was putting out a picture of my head and sticking it onto the picture of the Beetle I'd ripped out of some magazine. And I also had like a bottle of perfume in there of like how I wanted my life to smell when I was successful. And I would sit there sniffing this perfume and feeling what it would feel like to create this successful life for myself. Because, like as a teenager, you always just want to be an adult. And so that's what I was doing. And so I feel fortunate that I've had that. There have been moments where I've completely fallen off the bandwagon. So a few years after running my first business, I was so lonely. And when you spend a lot of time by yourself, you really start to overthink everything. And I was really doubting myself and wondering what on earth I was doing and questioning my purpose in life and all of that stuff. And anyway, that kind of led to me hitting this rock bottom, like what felt like rock bottom. And I realized I needed to do something to turn my life around. And I realized I needed to go on an adventure and to create a mission for myself to create the success that I wanted in my life. And I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know how I would do it. I didn't know anything. But I was just determined to go on the adventure to figure it out and just kind of honor the whole process, like the good and the bad. And so I just started reading books and learning more about how do you actually condition yourself for success to create the success you want. And so I began to pay a really close attention to the thoughts I was thinking. So because I was so conditioned to listen to the fears and be led by the fears and the doubts.
Yeah.
So I kind of trained my brain to stop doing that. So when I'd think of something or I'd come up with an idea and I'd be like, oh, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, everyone's already done this, what's the point of me doing it? When those thoughts would pop up, I'd be really aware of them and I'd just say stop. And I would almost picture imagine the thought and imagine it scrumpling up on a piece of paper and just chucking it behind me and like leaving the thought behind me. And then I'd just start thinking about something else that would make me feel good. It could be anything. It could be like sitting on a beach or my dog, whatever it is. And I just replaced it and I just kept doing it over and over again. I remember at the beginning thinking, this is useless. I'm never going to be able to, because I felt so controlled by the fears. And I felt like at the beginning when I was trying to retrain my brain, I thought I would never be able to get to a place where I was no longer controlled by them. But through consistently trying to practice paying attention, being willing to look inside at what is going on mentally, I was able to like move away from those patterns and create new positive patterns and ways of thinking. And just doing things like having a vision board, and on my vision board I have words on there like trust and affirmations on there to help me to anchor myself to those feelings, like looking at my, sometimes you look at your goals and you feel like they're so far-fetched and you feel really disconnected. So for me, having a vision board, but then having words that really mean something to me, like trust, is really empowering, because it makes me look at my goals and think, just trust, Carrie, like trust that this is a done deal and that you're going to make this happen. And just, I'm a massive fan of visualizations too. I do them all the time, and I have this thing like I created a little like a dream jar, and I put my little goals and dreams on little pieces of paper and fold them up and put them in my jar. And it's not just business goals; it's like all sorts of different goals. And then I every morning and every night I go to the jar and I pick one out, and I just spend like a minute or so vividly visualizing that happening. So I sit there and I close my eyes and just take a deep breath, and I just create a movie in my mind of experiencing the thing that's on the piece of paper. So a really stupid example is one of the goals written down in my jar at the moment is the fact I want this particular type of dog, and it's called Sophie. So literally on the piece of paper is written Sophie dog. So whenever I pick that one out, it's this visualization that I have where I'm in my house and Sophie is in the utility room on a little bed, and all my family come round, and I say to them, hang on one second, I've got something to show you. And I go into the utility room, I pick up Sophie and I take her into the kitchen, and I say, I would like you to meet Sophie. And then everyone's like, oh my God, she's so cute. And I just feel so excited and happy that she's finally here. And then I put her on the floor and she's like so excited to meet everyone. And so I create this I have this visualization that I do in my head over and over again, but I really connect with how it feels to be experiencing that thing. And, I mean, obviously that's a personal goal, but like I do the same for business goals. And, when I was running my magazine, I had a wish list of all the people I wanted to interview on the front cover, and I would vividly visualize interviewing them and speaking with them and it manifesting. And I do the same when I've been nominated for awards in the past, and I vividly visualized winning the awards and feeling the feeling of how it would, what I would feel like if I won the award. And I've had conversations with people in my head of people I wanted to meet and interview, and I would vividly visualize interviewing them and what they might be like and what we might say to each other and all sorts. So I just let my mind go crazy, and I just constantly working on expanding my mind so that I can create this reality that I want to create. So for me, that's just been the most empowering thing as an entrepreneur. And it's so significant and important to every single entrepreneur, because it's a bloody roller coaster ride. Like,
absolutely.
1 minute you're up and you're so excited and everything's amazing. The next minute you're down and you're like, what am I doing? I mean, I still feel like this now. Like, I have this toolbox of tricks for how I condition myself for success, but I literally go to them and use them all the time, because I'm like a yo-yo. Like, not everyone is the same as me, but a lot of entrepreneurs are, because you are largely doing things by yourself, and a natural human behavior is to question yourself. You think, am I doing the right thing? Some days you lose your passion for everything and you're like, is this even what I want to do anymore? Because you're not 100% passionate about things 100% of the time. I think for me, the mindset piece has helped me to honour the process of being an entrepreneur and helped me to get to where I am.
That's fantastic. And you've talked about so many things there, and I think the listeners will be able to take lots of the like practical advice you gave there around visualizing the dream jar, which I loved that, and getting really into that process of visualization. And like yourself, I have always had since I was probably about 14 or 15, like nearly an obsession to find out how we can change our mind, you know, how we can let go of things like fears and move forward. And I think it's a huge part, it's the fundamental part, I think, of being able to create a really good life. Do you think for people who might like, you know, for what you work with is people who have an idea and want to turn it into a business, or someone who even has a passion for being a parent or traveling the world or whatever it is someone really, really wants to achieve, do you feel like they should get the mindset bit in order first before they then take, you know, the practical action steps of how they can get to that place? Do you think that's a good foundation of where to start from?
I think it's just good to do it all at once. Like, I think the
Okay.
mindset piece is a never-ending exploration of like figuring out, like you said, it's like a something you have to become obsessed with, and it's
Yeah.
never-ending. Like, I'm sure you come across things all the time, and I'm sure you go back to using the same tools over and over again to help you to keep,
Yeah.
in the right frame of mind to create the success that you want to create.
Yeah.
So I just say set out on the entrepreneurial adventure and know that a massive part of that will be focusing inwards on yourself of like, how can I grow as a person?
Yeah.
What do I need to be doing internally to make sure that I am trailblazing this amazing path for myself and going in the right direction? And how can I cope better with the doubts and the fears that everyone has? It's more about a willingness to be aware of it all, and then a willingness to try and figure out how you can overcome it and move forward and grow. So I
Yeah.
just think it's part of the process. So I
Yeah.
don't necessarily think it comes before getting started as an entrepreneur.
So
I
it's
think it's
like it's
all
sorry, I was going to say it's a continuous journey. You
yeah.
feel, yeah, absolutely. And whenever you do get fearful or you do lose motivation, which I'm sure happens as it does to everybody, I know one of the tips you said there is you imagine a thought and throw it behind your back. But do you have any other advice for how people can get back on track or get back into that feeling of being motivated and positive? Because so often, I know with working with people myself, some things just seem so big. You know, it feels like they're never going to get there. And it's a course of baby steps to that bigger step, but sometimes we can't see that.
Yeah.
Would you have any advice around that, how people can remotivate themselves?
Yeah, definitely. So this happens to all of us. I feel like we all struggle with comparisonitis as well. It's so easy to look around at what other people are doing and think that they have it all figured out, and to think that they're 100% motivated and inspired and passionate all the time, which just
Yeah.
is absolute crap. um,
Yeah.
for example, earlier on this year, it was in summer, and I'd just got married, and I was away for a few months, and I was working at the same time, but I was largely away, and I ended up feeling really, really down about stuff. I wasn't motivated, I wasn't inspired, I couldn't be bothered to do any work. I literally just didn't want to do anything. But after a while of feeling like that, I just thought it was draining me. I wanted to kind of get focused again and fired up and feel good and feel like I was making progress. And I just didn't feel like that. So after a week or a few weeks of feeling this way, I reached a point, like we all tend to reach a point where we've reached our limits and we're like, right, I
Yeah.
can't do this anymore. So for me, I was like, I need to have an intervention with myself. And I ended up going to a lake and taking a pad and a pen. And I decided I was going to sit there and come up with an intervention to help me to get remotivated and re inspired and back on track. So I literally just sat there with a pen and the pad, and I just started to write down my goals and my dreams, and just to get back into a place of fun with it all. Because sometimes it gets heavy,
Yeah.
and our goals almost feel like a weight on our shoulders rather than an inspiring, beautiful thing we're working towards.
Yeah.
So I started writing my dreams and goals down, and I didn't edit myself. I just allowed myself to just write freely whatever came up. So I wrote all this stuff down, and then after that, I started to write a daily routine down for myself. So I decided that every single day I was going to do a visualization. I was going to make time for having fun. I was going to intentionally create time for fun in my day, because it's crazy how like days go by and we don't think of anything fun to do
Mm-hmm.
intentionally.
Yeah.
So I tried to put that back in my life. I wanted to have some time for quiet time of just reflecting, tuning in with myself. I wanted to make sure I set my intentions and got really clear every day what my goals were, making a plan for the day. I wanted to, oh, what else was on the list? There was, doing physical exercise, because I think that's really important to like get yourself moving.
Yeah.
And gratitude, like making time to think of things I'm grateful for. I think that was it. Maybe there was more stuff, but anyway. So I wrote this daily routine out for myself, and I was like, okay. So I got home and I decided I was going to turn it into like a pretty little principle for myself. So I did, and I also created some questions to go along with it. And I've got this. I actually, in the end, decided to turn it into a 30-day challenge. Well, I did it for myself, but then I shared it with my audience because I was like, surely if I'm feeling like this, other people must be feeling the same way.
Yes,
Turns out they were. So I can share the PDF with you so everyone can do it. And I just had it, and I just made the commitment to myself that I was going to transform and I was going to shift the way I was feeling and thinking, because ultimately I felt uninspired and unmotivated, and that was purely being created internally by myself. So I was the one responsible for how I was feeling, so I could be the only person that was responsible for doing something about it and making a change. So I just committed to making that change. And so with this challenge that I did, I called it Miracle Month, and I started to do these things every single day. I was getting clear every day what my goals were. I was making a plan for the day. I was taking massive action every day. I was doing a visualization every day. I was having quiet time every day and fun every day, and all this stuff. And I think within about 2 days, I felt like a new person. And it wasn't, I think, so much doing those things every day. It was the fact that I made the decision that I was going to up-level myself. I was going to shift. I was going to inspire and get refocused. Actually, one of the things on the list was taking time to be inspired every day and doing some kind of personal development, or going on YouTube and watching an inspirational video, listening to an inspiring podcast. So I was trying to do that stuff as well. And it just transformed me and made me feel so much more fired up for things. And then I never looked back. So for me, doing fun things like that, like, see it all as a game. Like, you feel down and out, you feel uninspired, then think of it as a game. Like, what can you do to get back in the game and feel inspired again? So just challenge yourself, or create a fun daily routine for yourself to inject some fun and adventure back into your life. Ultimately, we're responsible for how we feel, and we have to do our best to make sure that we feel the way we want to feel, and we have 100% control over that. It's not something we don't have control over. We do. So that's what I did, and that just helped me so much.
It sounds like a really good thing that you followed. Like, well, one, created, like you said, you just took time out with a pen and paper, which I think is brilliant. Journaling, writing down your thoughts as well. But like that kind of setting more of a routine, because so often I will hear as well, people will say, I would say to people, maybe just start with yourself, start with looking after, like you were saying there, doing something fun, something that brings you more joy, like follow your joy. It could be as simple as, watching like a funny video on YouTube, just something that brings a bit of lightness into your day. And these different things, I definitely feel, start to make us shift more. But again, like you said there, it's about taking responsibility for how we feel and where we want to be. And I think something like you've described there is really good, because you're in control of how that is, how the routine is. Some people can be really busy with kids and long hours in work and things like that. But these little things can fit into your daily routine very easily. So it sounds like a really wonderful thing to do, and I'm sure loads of people followed that for the month as well.
Yeah.
When you released it, it's brilliant.
It was really fun.
You've created as well a wonderful international membership club, which I was a part of myself, and just received so much inspiration from it. And it's inspiring thousands of people all over the world currently, helping them to create and develop their businesses as well as personally. How important do you feel it is to have a strong community of like-minded people around you when you're trying to progress? And what benefits do you think people get from having regular support through guidance and teachings like what you provide in your membership club?
I think it's so important, because no one has all the answers, and so often on this entrepreneurial journey we're alone, and perhaps the people in our lives aren't on the same path as us. Maybe they are working and they don't understand what it's like to have an idea and to be trying to turn it into a reality. So I think to surround yourself with like-minded people who get it, who can really cheer you on, where you can ask a question when you've got a burning business question and get an answer to it, or where you can ask for feedback on things, or where you can just say, I'm feeling like crap at the moment, this and this and this have happened, has anyone ever felt like this, and how do you get past it? And for hundreds of people to comment back saying, oh my goodness, I feel like this so often, this is what I do, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not alone, I'm not strange, it's normal. I think that's so empowering, and it just helps you to keep going, keep striving forward along the journey. So I think it's so invaluable. And also they say you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that's why I think it's important to surround yourself online and offline with people that are aspirational, who are wanting to achieve amazing things, and who are heading in the same direction that you're heading in. It really rubs off on you, and I think being part of these communities, it really does rub off even when you're part of them. And you make amazing connections, and some of my best friends now online. Like, one of them lives in Hawaii. I never met her in real life, and we're such good friends.
Wow, yeah.
We chat all the time, and it's that's powerful. We help each other, we support each other. I share what's going on in my life and business, and she shares what's going on in her life and business with me, and it's really empowering, and we can just learn so much from each other. Like I said, no one has all the answers, which is why I think we need to reach out and expand our support networks and learn from each other to grow.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's surrounding yourself with those like-minded people, because as you mentioned as well, who we surround ourselves with is a predictor of who we're going to become. And I think if you're mixing all the elements of what you've said today in terms of the visualization, setting your goals, working on your mindset, keeping yourself on track and checking in with yourself very often from time to time, plus being surrounded by people who are going to encourage and support you, seems like a really good recipe for success, actually, if you were to do all of that consistently. And sounds fantastic. And for people who are looking to take an idea they have for business and set it alight and do something with it, or are currently setting up businesses, I would highly recommend Carrie's membership club. It's just so inspiring, and I think everything you give is very practical, real-time advice, if you know what I mean. It's stuff you can implement. It's not so out there, it's not possible to do, which I think is what makes it so good. And finally, Carrie, just to ask you, what's your definition of happiness?
Oh, good question. When you're, for me, it's kind of like living life, doing what I want, and pushing the boundaries to see what's possible, and to follow my heart, and to turn my ideas into reality. I think I always feel like we are here on this planet, that it blows my mind, to be honest. Every time I think about it, and the fact that we live on this random planet that hovers in blackness, surrounded by these planets, stars, and this universe that is so big we can't even comprehend it. And for some reason we're here. And to me, that's so empowering, because it makes me think what an opportunity we all have to live incredible lives and to thrive. And so for me, success and happiness is all about just thriving and doing all I can to explore and have the adventure, and to be okay with the highs and the lows, and just know it's all part of the whole entire experience of life. And I feel like it's very liberating. So that's how I try and live my life. And I think when you chase a goal, it becomes very hollow. When you reach the goal and you're like, oh, I made it happen, now what? And so for me, that's not what happiness is or what success is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's just a way of life. It's a way of being for me.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful definition of happiness, I think. Thank you so much, Carrie, for joining me today and for sharing all of that great advice with the listeners as well. If you'd like to read more about Carrie then and how she works, and as well your Female Entrepreneur Association membership club, and be part of a huge community of like-minded people, you can visit femaleentrepreneurassociation.com, or you can visit many of Carrie's social media platforms as well. All of the details I'll be putting under this video that you can tap into and have a look at. So thank you once again, Carrie, for that. It was really enjoyable to interview you today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Please do come on over to carolinemariamead.com and join a like-minded community in the Mindful Motivating membership club.